Hello and welcome to Filmfaker's commentary with your friends from Superliminal Films. My name is Max.
My name is J-Rod.
Paul is my name.
Very good. And today we are going back to a classic, George A. Romero classic, genre classic, subgenre defining film, 1968's Night of the Living Dead. Last time we had our friends on from Capes and Scowls when we did this. This time it is us, and we are talking about the opening scene just shortly after they begin the drive, but as they arrive at the cemetery. So we're going to go ahead and kick this pig. And you can see the cemetery's got blood splatter on it, little foreshadowing there, maybe not so subtle.
I
But
think it's supposed to be rust.
is it rust? I
Mhm.
thought it was blood.
I think it's
I
just
thought it was
rusty old
bullets.
sign.
That's the problem with black and white.
You can be whatever you want. You can read into it however you want. But yeah, just
Could even be about.
some foreshadowing, some good camera work here. No surprise. And this movie came out the end of the 60s and is unfortunately public domain because of an issue with the title and some problems with the exact wording of the title. So, lucky for us, we get to talk about it and not have to fight a bunch of people for the right to use things fairly.
Don't have to fight City Hall on this one.
But, I mean, it's always a treat to go back to this one. It's one of my favorite movies. It's so good. One of the best horror movies of the 60s, to be sure. It's brutal. It's very allegoric of what's going on at the time. It just does it all.
I'd say it's my number one Romero movie.
It's a good choice. It's hard to not pick this one. I know a lot of people go to Dawn because Dawn was just ramped up the violence. But this one's very scary, and it's not super violent. Or except for the one zombie we'll get to shortly, who apparently is the world's smartest zombie.
Yeah.
Take that, bub.
Mm.
We have Jonathan and Barbara Jonathan making smart remarks. That's what he does through this whole thing. He's like one of the least sympathetic characters in horror.
Then him hearing something on the radio. Let me just ignore the important plot and roll up my window.
Yep. But it makes sense. I mean, I've definitely complained having to do long treks, so I'm not going to say too much. He has his driving gloves put away. They're making their way to the cemetery, and this cemetery is in Pittsburgh. Well, it's right outside of Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, he did all his filming in Pittsburgh for the most part up until towards the end of his career. But the vast majority of the stuff he did was right out of Pittsburgh. That's where he lived. That's where he grew up. That's where he made his movies. And he's great. He always operated right outside the system. Just good stuff.
It's a nice looking place too.
Yeah, looks really nice. It's pretty unassuming, but then it gets creepy. It's really sparse in the way they shoot. They don't go crazy with a lot of ridiculous camera work. It's just a little bit of changing here and there as they need to. Coverage, master, but they were shooting on film, and film is expensive. So when, you're burning money every couple seconds on, that you're running through film, you can't afford to go too crazy and it not work.
Yeah, it's very true.
But we did have some nice pans of the car early on when we got there, and now we have, again, we're into coverage, just, some medium closes as they talk. Really, pretty standard way to cut it. Back to a master for him to get back over and
Having
her
to
to get
switch
down.
spots, yeah.
Very Whose Line Is It Anyway? One standing, one kneeling. That's how it has to work. We're missing the third one to be sitting, but...
Oh, we get the shambling one later.
Yep. I don't know what their lens package was. We haven't seen any extreme close-ups yet, or any just, very stark close-ups. The rest have been very medium shots. Here we go. This is when things start to change. We get that close-up. And close-ups nowadays, there's a big debate between filmmakers of if they're being overutilized. Close-up's supposed to be very important, and they're supposed to punctuate a very important moment in the story. And if you watch modern films, we get a lot of close-ups these days.
Yeah, it's true.
Even our talking heads aren't so much medium shots like with somebody dirtying up the foreground and somebody else is a medium. It's pretty much just two close-ups. So a lot of filmmakers have moved back to more sparse kind of style like this, where it's conservative, a lot of medium shots, as opposed to a lot of big close-ups. But that was a good shot of Barbara standing up. Did a nice way to... The camera moved into a new way to frame it. This is a great shot here. Everything's nice and clean. Oh, the blocking's pretty solid. I don't want to call it Spielbergian because he's not, he hasn't been around yet, but this is kind of a style he emulated, and a lot of his oneers are famous for that, where it's essentially you're setting up, instead of cutting between 3 or 4 shots, Spielberg had a knack for taking one take and making it into 3 or 4 shots.
Yeah.
So this, you can see kind of hints of that at times in this. And then things get a little bit more erratic now that there's
a new challenger approaches.
Yeah. So here we go. This is the smartest zombie committed to film for the at least in the Romero verse.
Yeah, probably.
Again, take that, bub. It's just,
He's like, I know if he can't see, I can beat him better.
I like how kinetic they make the camera during the fight as well. Like now we're finally getting a handheld camera. It's not a lockdown camera. It's makes the thing, it gives more energy to the scene without being distracting.
Yeah, it doesn't shake around too much.
No, just enough to give you, feel like you're moving around a little bit. Yeah, it's certainly not the like Paul Greengrass Bourne style shaky cam that's become hyper popular in action movies and horror movies now. Which thankfully we're starting to get away from again because people are starting to complain about it. I have no problem with handheld. Handheld's fine.
Yeah, it's just not every scene.
Right. I want to see what's going on as well. I don't want it to be so violent that I can't see what the action is.
She made it pretty far with her shoes on, with her heels on.
Yeah, impressive.
This zombie's pretty quick, except for right now.
Yeah.
Well, he's quick, but he's not fast.
I don't know. Watch him run around the back of this car here.
Yeah, he's pretty nimble. He's spry for a zombie.
He's a good dwarf. He's good over short distances.
That's zombie dwarf. Yep, here he goes.
Knows to go for the handle.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
It's like he's recently dead. He still has some
Let me
memories
get
of
a
himself.
tool.
Yeah. It's like he's still slightly. Maybe he's turning.
I don't think this is a zombie.
It's just
Yeah.
a crazy man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
I think that's just a caretaker.
You know what? I'm down with
It's
that.
like, I'm tired of you kids leaving these dumb flowers that I
Yeah.
have to pick up.
He's the one that made the zombies.
He's just nuts. Or maybe he saw a zombie and lost his mind. So he's like, I just want to be one of them.
If they think I'm one of them, then they're...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to become a reaver.
Because he doesn't just kill Jonathan. He doesn't eat him. He just drops him on the headstone and then just goes after Barbara.
He's displaying very little zombie tendencies.
Yep.
And she's displaying very poor driving skills.
She is.
And then, oh no, the door's dented. The car must be totaled.
And the zombie is hauling ass.
Well, she didn't have the keys to begin with.
Yeah. The cut was her saying, oh no, Jonathan had the keys.
Yeah.
So she just kicked it into gear and let it roll.
I forgot cars used to be able to do that.
Movie's so good. So if you get a chance and you haven't seen it, for sure get out there and watch Night of the Living Dead. It's freely available on YouTube because, again, it is public domain. So if you haven't had the opportunity, give it a watch. Criterion released a very cool version of it on Blu-ray and DVD, where they worked with Romero and restored deleted scenes and rearranged a couple things to fit his original vision. So if you're looking for what he did, what he wanted before he passed away, this was one of the last things he did. So give it a look out. And yeah, we're all over the internet, Superliminal Films. You find us somewhere. Apparently Peach is a place we are, Dan told me. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but apparently that's a social media website.
I thought that was just part of Fruit Array.
That's what I thought too. It's not. Fruit Array, we're on. Bumble, all the usual stuff. So check us out. Hit us up. Let us know what you want to watch and what you want us to talk about while we watch it.
Yeah, throw a comment in below and we'll probably make a Filmfakers out of it if
Yeah.
we can.
We absolutely will. And until next time, they're coming to get you, Barbara.